and now bringing in newly appointed head coach Jordan Stewart. Jordan, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
Hearing that out loud, second head coach in franchise history, just how does it feel to have that title now?
No, I think excellent, to be honest. I think it's part of the next evolution for myself as a coach. It's almost like the stars aligned. With my progression from academy to second team to now, obviously head coach. Obviously, first of all, I'd like to thank the organisation for putting their trust into me. So, exciting times.
All right, and what's that transition been like coming in as a head coach?
Well, I think after, obviously, Frank left, it was important for me to kind of show my face, even though Simon was going to take the rest of the week. So I came in, seen the boys on the Wednesday just to say hello, and obviously came to the game Saturday, but didn't want to come in the dressing room and kind of didn't want to give it to like Simon, let him run with it for the week, and then obviously started Monday. So game Saturday, going 1-0 up, and then going 2-1 down, but showing the commitment to then come back to get a point. And I told the guys after the game that point might be the difference of either making the playoffs or having a home playoff game. So.
All right. Now, you and I have talked about this before, just pros and cons with taking a team mid-season, but taking the reins. Can you kind of just talk a little bit about what that's like in the middle of a season?
Of course. I think it's always hard to get your methodology in the way you see the game, because there's such a structure, like 2/3 of the way through the season. But I think players adapt well, and with the players that, especially seen on the Wednesday, the ball was flying and that kind of stuff. And for the most part, like, players have that intellect to kind of then shift into a different system. So it's not too dissimilar in that aspect. So at least you see the players and you can kind of push to the end of the season in the last 12 games.
All right, and seeing them in action, what have you seen from the team that you've liked so far?
I think the energy and the commitment is always, especially when you come in as a new coach, and especially the way, like, Frank had a good man management skills with the players. So kind of just getting on top of that, really, and kind of driving that, and then trying to put my own ideas within that structure. And kind of, end of the day, you can have any structure and any coach can have any ideas, but ultimately when the guys get on the field, like, you have to let them express themselves. So that's why I'm trying to create a structure, but then give them the flexibility and the creativity to express themselves.
All right, and now moving forward, what's the vision you have for this team, both this season and in the following seasons?
I think this season is, like I said before, to make the playoffs. As I said before, like, as well, that many coaches come in and they don't like to talk about playoffs. It's one game at a time, but I think the destiny is in our own hands. And the minute we have 12 games left, which is still quite a lot of games. So then trying to get my emphasis within the structure. As a staff, lucky enough, I've worked with Simon before, so we're kind of aligned in that aspect, and kind of make an environment where everyone's pulling for the same thing, right? Is to make the playoffs, and obviously long term is to make the sports organisation, which is the only one in Monterey, and kind of have a footprint within the area, and then more people come into games, showcasing our skill, not only just as a staff, but just as an organisation, as a community, bringing in the youth, letting them see that kind of thing, and just kind of make it a great ecosystem for the area.
All right, you mentioned him a couple of times. Simon, you guys are friends. What's it like joining forces again?
No, it's great. When I was talking before, we have a bit of banter, because obviously we work together at Quakes, but for us we see the game the same way, which is kind of one of the best things when you're going into a new role. If you have someone by your side that can kind of say something different, but you can have the same ideas, but he's willing to challenge you. And I think that's a good environment to have. You just don't want to be head coach and it's like what I say goes. You want to have that ability for other staff to kind of be like, well, maybe let's try something else. And I hope I can use that environment for people to express themselves, not only as players, but as staff as well. So just trying to create a positive culture around the place, and hopefully that transcends onto the field in game time.
All right, and having Simon, I mean, he has a unique perspective too, having played with some of those guys. Is that something you see as an advantage as you two continue to work together? Oh,
absolutely. I remember when I was playing, and I'd always probably be more closer to the assistant than the actual head coach. So for me, the assistant's the bridge. And as you mentioned, Simon knows a lot of them players and kind of can tell me some of their stories. And for me, then it's my job to speak to them individually and kind of get them know as people, right? Because a lot of people, they just see them as an athlete or a sports person, but we're all humans and everyone has different things going on off the field. So it's for me to get the biggest picture I can of each player and kind of work with that and kind of mold it and ultimately try and get them better. Yes, we want to win games, which is the priority because we're in a professional environment, but in the same breath, trying to help them develop as players, but also people.
Now, we talked about the transition as head coach, but let's talk about the climate. What's it been like moving San Jose and Monterey?
It's a bit different. I remember last week, Wednesday, when I came, it was 90 degrees, and by the time I got to Cardinal Stadium, it was 60. So there's a bit of a shift there. And even on Tuesday, when I was training, the sun was out, and I remember I was in the midst of a session, and I just felt like the wet moisture from the fog. So slightly different, but hopefully the moisture keeps my skin looking young.
Well, fantastic. And a lot of fans, no stranger to that. I guess is the final question. What's your message to those fans as they're toughing out, rooting for you guys out there?
No, I think like what I mentioned before about having a culture, not only with the staff and the players, with the community. I think it's big. Being around, especially on Saturday, you can feel like there's a community feel, feels like very family oriented. Lots of kids coming to the games, doing stuff before with the dogs and like the veterans and all that kind of stuff. So I think bringing a community and an ecosystem and a professional environment to help those people come and support the guys, and hopefully with what we're trying to do every day in training, that goes onto the field and they see something that they enjoy and that they can call their own.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. And
thank you very much.
This weekend,
much
big day,
appreciated.
Saturday.
Yep.
Coaching debut. Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.